Iron Man has created a ton of different Iron Man armors over the years, more than you can ever count. But today we're going to go through them, ranking each and every Iron Man armor that Tony has ever created in the comics, ranking them all from weakest to strongest. So let's get to it. Tony's first armored suit, the Mark I, wasn't about him becoming a superhero, it was just about him trying to stay alive. Held captive and injured by terrorists, he built the suit in order to make his way out and escape, meaning that the Mark I armor isn't fancy. It was designed solely for him to survive. Mephisto sent Iron Man back in time to 1 million BC, leaving Tony trapped in an ice storm with malfunctioning armor. But it's Tony Stark, so he adapted to survive by stripping down his suit using vibranium batteries for power. He created a new suit, the Model 66, or the Ice Age Man. This low-tech ice armor could shoot icicles and repulsor blast, and it did hold up against Mephisto, but ultimately the armor was lost in the fight. Tony Stark created the first version of his stealth armor, known as Model 7, in order to sneak into the heavily guarded Heaven's Hand fortress. Then he created another advanced version, the Mark 43 stealth armor, to retrieve an extremist sample from a secure facility. The Model 43 had impressive cloaking abilities, a reflective surface, and could project out holograms. However, its weapons did tend to focus more on non-lethal options, ideal for stealth missions rather than direct fights. The Silver Centurion armor, also called Mark 8, was one of Tony Stark's strongest suits. He built it after some serious trouble with Obadiah Stane, hurting Rhodey, and causing chaos at Stark Industries. This armor has a lot of cool features like an upgraded unibeam, a force field, or even a stealth mode that made Iron Man invisible to technology. Tony used this armor for a few years before going back to his classic red and gold look. The Cold Iron armor actually isn't all that special in the typical sense. Its main purpose is dealing with everything in the magical realm. And so Tony just took a normal Iron Man suit and fitted it with cold iron in order to survive against the Dark Elves, seeing as how Dark Elves are naturally weak to cold iron. After Onslaught attacked the Marvel Universe, Iron Man was forced to sacrifice himself, along with most every other hero on Earth, in order to finally stop Onslaught. However, Franklin Richards saved him, and when he was brought back, Tony decided to bring back a new armor with him. The Prometheum armor was a lot like Tony's usual suits, except all of a more modern touch. It was just Marvel trying to give the hero a facelift during the Heroes Reborn event. The modular armor was one of Iron Man's many attempts at creating a new type of armor, this one made out of modular component system rather than it all being one suit. Basically each individual system, so the helmet, the gloves, the boots, they were all their own thing and could have different features. And because of that, it's what allowed Tony to create a Hulkbuster plug-in for the armor, basically building the Hulkbuster armor around the suit. Most of Iron Man's armors are durable and heavy duty, so Tony decided to go and create a lightweight model instead. He designed a synthetic kinetic interfacing nanofluid that flowed out of his chest piece in order to form the armor around it. It was both lightweight and flexible, but it could still hold up to a lot of damage and was very hard to hurt. For a short stint there, Iron Man joined up with the Guardians of the Galaxy and explored the cosmos, hoping to understand more about what happens outside the Earth. And for the trip, well, he created the Deep Space Armor, one of Tony's only suits with the ability to move at warp speed and grant him the ability to travel between planets. The War Machine armor was the first suit that Tony didn't design for himself, instead giving it to his buddy Rhodey so that Rhodes could join him out on missions as the War Machine. Designed as a military showpiece, this armor's power comes in the form of some serious weapons, machine guns, rockets, and all sorts of explosives. And of course, Tony keeps on upgrading the War Machine armor too, making sure that Rhodey has all the latest in cutting-edge technology. After Tony's armor was damaged one too many times, he decided to completely rethink his suit, using the experimental Extremis nanotech to create the Extremis armor. He stored the advanced liquid metal inside his own body, and Extremis allowed him to interface with his suit better than ever before, becoming faster, stronger, and more powerful thanks to the direct link to his neural pathways. During the Ultron Agenda event, a twisted merger of Ultron and Hank Pym tried to take over the Earth, merging people with AI and creating a whole new human race in Ultron's image. Well, Tony wasn't about to let that happen, and created the Ultron Buster armor. And believe it or not, Ultron was able to actually merge Tony with the armor, creating a new monstrous being in the process. Fin Fang Foom was one of the first villains that Iron Man fought in the comics. When Iron Man went to fight him again, well, of course he had to design a giant armor perfect for dragon fights. Almost straight out of Power Rangers, the dragon fighting armor used multiple different repulsor cannons that could combine and transform into one giant robot. It's extremely specialized, but still extremely powerful. Iron Man has always been trying to come up with some ways to help Bruce Banner contain the Hulk, and his go-to idea seems to be creating a suit of armor designed to beat the crap out of the Hulk in a fight. Because what are friends for? Of course, it never really works out that way. Hulk always gets stronger and stronger, and Iron Man is always forced to keep on beefing up the Hulkbuster in return. But even then, the Hulk is one of the few characters who Iron Man consistently loses to every time in the comics. The Fear Itself event brought the Asgardian god of fear to Earth as he aimed to take over Midgard with his new generals. Enchanted hammers rained down on Earth and corrupted heroes and villains alike, so the Avengers knew they needed a power boost of their own. Iron Man decided to recreate his Iron Man armor using the enchanted Uru metal, the same thing that makes up Thor's hammer, and transformed himself into the powerful Iron Destroyer. Thanks to advanced nanotechnology, Tony's Model 51 armor, Model Prime, is like a lot of armors all rolled up into one. Any of Iron Man's single-use armors, well, Model Prime can do it. Like you need stealth, Model Prime is your guy. You need a normal Iron Man suit? Well, Model Prime can do that. Heck, you even need the Hulkbuster. Model Prime can transform into the Hulkbuster. Sky's the limit. During Avengers vs. X-Men, the Avengers and X-Men went to war against each other, all because the Phoenix Force was coming back and they couldn't decide how to handle it. While the X-Men hoped the Phoenix Force would reignite their species, the Avengers wanted to destroy it and prevent any future death. And so, as part of the Avengers contingency plan, Tony created the Phoenix Killer armor, which Iron Man hoped would live up to its name and kill the Phoenix Force. It didn't quite do that, instead dividing the cosmic entity into 5 different pieces. But still, that's a lot of power to just manage to do that. After stepping down as director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Tony started to upgrade his armor one more time, inventing a suit of armor that existed inside his own body. Controlled by powerful nanotech, the Bleeding Edge armor could quickly form around him in an instant, and powered by repulsor tech, became one of Tony's most powerful suits ever created. So much so, the government eventually challenged Stark on using the suit, saying that it was too much power for one person to have. And so, to appease them, Tony destroyed the Bleeding Edge armor. Designated the Model 50, the Endosim armor was a symbiotic suit Tony could summon mentally, merging with it at will. The Endosim armor was highly adaptive and could move and manipulate with just a thought, even instantly transforming into a Hulkbuster form. Eventually though, Captain America destroyed the armor, and Tony never created a replacement after he turned back into his normal self. During the King in Black event, the symbiote god Knull attacked Earth with an incredibly powerful army of symbiotes under his control, some of which were even massive dragons. So Tony decided to take on one of these symbiote dragons and rewrite the creature's programming with the Extremis virus, trying to free it from Knull's control. The symbiote then attached itself to Iron Man's armor, creating the Extremebiote armor. Tony's new bioorganic armor could shoot out tendrils and even revealed a massive dragon form, making it one of his strongest armors ever. During the Carnage Reigns crossover, Carnage managed to take over the Extremebiote armor and eventually transformed himself into a massive armored symbiotic dragon. So Iron Man had to go and create a new suit specifically designed to stop him, the Dragon Slayer armor. Known as Iron Man Model 22, Stark created the Thor Buster armor just on the off chance he had to fight the God of Thunder. Now, initially, Thor gave Tony a special crystal that would be the perfect clean energy, but Iron Man decided to take the crystal and use it to power the armor instead. It didn't sit well with Thor, but it did allow Iron Man to absorb any magical energy thrown his way and even keep up with the Odin Force Thor for a little while there. The latest Hulk and Thor fight was so much that required Iron Man to step in and get involved. In an attempt to capture the Hulk, Iron Man created an even more powerful form of the Hulk Buster armor, making the armor out of the body of a Celestial. It was massive and incredibly powerful and could actually take attacks from Hulk, but was eventually destroyed when Hulk and Thor's power proved to be just too much. An ancient alien race specifically designed the original God Killer armor in order to fight the Celestials, which in turn gave Tony the idea to create his own version of the massive suit. He hid God Killer Mark II away on Mars, but when the Avengers were forced to fight against the Dark Celestials, well, Tony called it into action. He was actually able to hold his own in a fight against the giant gods. Because Tony just can't seem to stop himself, Iron Man designed his own virtual reality called Escape, which allowed his creative abilities to reach a whole new level. However, this virtual reality was soon taken over by villains, but it still gave Tony some creative freedom, and so he designed the Iron Man Model 63, which we refer to as the God Buster armor. With a massive back-mounted cannon, the God Buster became known as one of the most powerful Iron Man armors ever. The Model 70 armor was still incredibly powerful when Tony first built it, but it received a much better upgrade during his battle with Korvac. Iron Man was able to tap into the power cosmic as he was fighting against Korvac, with the power cosmic fusing with the armor, while Iron Man pretty much gained straight up omnipotence in the fight, making it easily his most powerful armor ever. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. You're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.